All right, Lowe's 2654, customer Spann. Let me show you the room. This is a 9-foot ceiling room. Right now they have the traditional 30-inch cabinet, which was here when the builder did theirs. But you do notice that it is a double pane window above the sink. We're going to come back to that in a minute as far as center lines of stuff. And also notice that your switches are about center line, see that, of the end of the countertop. So we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. So let's start right here on the right-hand side where the goldfish is living at right now. That spacing from the corner of the room to the edge of this molding is 70.5 inches long. So the spacing that you've got is actually a little longer than what's in the drawing. More importantly, this is a 27-inch cabinet, and these cabinets are a frameless cabinet, which is a millimeter conversion. That's actually about 27.5 inches wide. Some of these measurements we've got here are going to actually be that conversion metric to standard equivalent, so that's where you're going to have a little difference. But what we've determined is we can go with a UT30 right here instead of the 24 that's in the design. Flush finish the right-hand side of it, left-hand side of it, and then the base depth, if you look right there, that's about a 2.5-inch depth. Our depth will be 3 inches, so that's going to be padded out. You see how thick that is on the front of that? That's because they use 3/4-inch toe kick in European style cabinets, and our cabinets are going to be an actual 3-inch, so we're going to need to have a piece of ply or some type of material build out to match the footprint of where that's at. Now the other thing is back here behind this, you've got an electrical outlet, you've got a phone outlet. The phone outlet probably isn't, you don't even use it. They're dead, yeah. So the phone outlet's not even being used. But the other electrical outlet can come into the side of the back side of the pantry. We just need to put some child safety plugs in that when it's not being used inside the cabinet. Now, as far as that spacing, yeah, I got an extra 4 or 5 inches there, 4.5 inches or so. So we want to make that a 30, make sure we have plenty of room. The other thing about the utility pantry they seen was they'd like to go ahead and put 2 rollout trays in the bottom of it, and then everything else above that shelves. Because they're going to an 8-foot height, that's going to give them like 4 shelves or 3 shelves on the top and 2 shelves on the bottom, and then 2 rollout trays. A lot of storage, but then those rollout trays will be easier to access down near the floor. Here on the refrigerator, this is your classic 38 inches of space. We are going to build that cabinet forward. That's 28.5 inches from the corner to the front edge of this. So when we start looking at building that forward, no problem for the crown return. As long as we stay about 3.5-inch molding. We do not want a 5 or 6-inch molding. That would not work. It wouldn't look good with this height. But the other thing is the 2.25-inch molding, kind of what's here, would look lost as well. So somewhere in that middle size crown molding is what we need for the upper moldings on this one. Also, 38 inches is the footprint that we have in the floor here. And we need a 2x4x8 cleat for the left-hand side. That's item number 6005, so that cabinet will have something solid to attach to that left-hand wall. Now, that's everything for that side of the room. Let's go over here and look at this side of the room. On this side, this cabinet, again, is that European equivalent. It's 15.5 inches wide. We only have a 15. Well, right now we've got a base that's already been cut out for around that. So make sure that when we're looking at this, we're going to order a 15-inch cabinet. Of course, it needs to be flushed, but we're going to need to order a piece of OG pilaster molding to go down here and around the side of that to hide that extra 1/2 inch or so that the quarter round is not going to hide. Same thing up here, 15.5-inch cabinet, but it'll just be a paint difference on that one. So the paint difference is not going to be a big deal, especially if you do a flushed end on the end of the cabinet. Again, all these are frameless now. All of them have flushed edges, so your paint line has to match or be close to the same paint line. On the microwave, at this point, the microwave is hung at the lower equivalent. In your design, 24 inches is about 3 inches higher than this microwave, and that's fine with them. They're pretty tall people. They want to have that a little bit higher anyway. They were having some trouble with some of the tall cooking and stuff in the back of the stove. So that's a good thing on the microwave. Again, it's going to leave a footprint in the paint line where it's going to be moved up. And if you look in here for where the microwave plugs in, double check that. Yeah, it's up high, so there's no problem. That should come right back in without any issues as far as that goes. Now, to the left of this, we have 48 1/4 of space. Now, again, it's that offset difference from being European versus standard American. So we're going to put like a 1/4 to 3/8 inch filler on the left-hand side. This is going to be a 33/42 cabinet, and then this will be a 15. The reason we were looking at that is to try to make the 15 the same as the 15 on the other side, give it a little balance around the center of the stove, and also change the hinging of this from a right hinge to a left hinge, okay? Just like this one is. I think you had that in your drawing, but double check it for me. Now on the bottom here, they had a 36 1/4 by 36 1/4 Lazy Susan in the beginning. You're doing a 33 by 33, which is fine. And then here, this was a 15 in your drawing with a good conservative 2-inch filler, but we're at 48 1/4 on our footprint. So this can be a drawer base 15, no problem. This can be a drawer base 15, probably needs to be, so we don't have such a large gap there with mold with a filler. And then up here, I talked about a minute ago, but move the filler to the left-hand side of the door. I made a note on the drawing for that. Now here's the situation on this. I give you a center line measurement of the window. This is a 31-inch sink base, which will not work with an apron sink. It won't work with some undermounts. You got to be a minimum 33 sink base for undermounts. But when we're looking at the drawing, you had a sink base 36. Well, sink base 36 is going to be about 1.25 inches to the right, I think it's right, or 1.25 inches to the left of center. It's not exactly center. So we want to work off of the center of this. Probably a sink base 33 is what we're going to do. And double check your math. Small filler here, move the dishwasher to the same place, because we're going to have to put a filler here to make sure that dishwasher has the same footprint. If you'll notice under here, by the way, see how that panel right there goes all the way to the floor? Whichever cabinet line we choose, that panel has to go all the way down. There is a notch in that floor underneath that panel right there. So if it's a 3-inch panel we're going to use, that's fine, but it's got to go like a Shenandoah Allen Roth all the way to the floor, no toe kick, just as you see. These others will all have toe kicks. And again, these toe kicks are only 2.5 inches deep, where our normal standard toe kick is 3.5. So this is going to have to be padded out with some material. Either going to have to be like 1x6, 1x4 possibly. You know, that's 3.5, but this is a 4-inch toe base. So something's going to have to be put as far as materials to pad these out to match the depth of that actual front. Now, the last thing to talk about is this switch right here. The switch is dead center of the end of this. And again, that's only a 3/4 end panel. I feel like if we made this a 3-inch end panel to this length, then we would probably be about 2 inches longer, which is going to put me right past the end of that switch plate, which is going to be good for a tile. They are going to put a tile backsplash in when we're done, so we don't want tile to be awkward and come up in the middle of a switch plate like that. We want the countertop to at least be long enough to pass the end of that. If not, run the countertop all the way to the door trim and stop the cabinets back a few inches before. I think that addresses all the issues that I've seen. This is a monolithic slab home. As far as the plumbing and stuff, nothing can be changed on the plumbing. What's here now is probably copper or PEX. Let me double check. It's copper. Copper coming out of the slab. 2-inch drain coming out of the slab. So we'll need a 2-inch coupling. These valves are original, so make sure we bring some 3/8 caps. Because they probably will not hold up to pressure being that age. And then also they have suppressors on them. So that suppressor will have to either be cut off or an additional piece welded onto it. Might have to get a plumber to take care of that before we do the installation, after we do the tear out. So if you have any questions about the kitchen, feel free to give me a call at 423-650-1051. Have a great day.